Okay. I know usually the first 15 seconds cuts off. It's 3 a.m. right now. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me. So it's like 3:19 or 3:20 a.m. in Hawaii right now. And I just wanted to share some life thoughts. Even though this is going to sound kind of strange. Yeah, it's completely pitch black. I was thinking to myself, you know, when life is easy, sometimes I feel that's the time that we have to be the most worried. And I say that because I think that the human brain is that kind of thing where we, when we have it easy, right? We have to like look and see, hey, how are we doing? Is it really is it easy because we're happy, or is it easy because we're just doing what makes us comfortable kind of thing. So for instance, right, I've spoken about this and you guys know, right, I'm getting mental health support. I'm trying to change my life around. I recognize that I have a number of bad habits. I had this thing yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, 3 a.m. today. Yeah. Yesterday, where I had this anxiety reaching out to someone because I thought I was bothering them. And the crazy thing is that I was supposed to meet up with them, but I thought to myself, it's so irrational. I thought to myself, like, oh man, if I reach out to them and just ask them another question, I wonder if I'm going to be seen as too clingy. It sounds really stupid that way, doesn't it? And I had to tell myself, like, I had to like talk to myself. I know this sounds crazy now, but I had to talk to myself and I had to tell myself, like, Erica, this is all in your head. You cannot impose your thoughts on other people. Like, if you want to say something and you want to reach out to someone and you're worried that they're just going to like ignore you, you need to like separate those thoughts and just reach out to them. Remember, like, I was on my way to see them. I just wanted to ask them something really quick. And it was just, something unrelated. I thought maybe that they wouldn't want to answer my question, or maybe if I texted them while I was on my way, it sounds so weird, right? That they would be like, oh my gosh, why does she want to have a conversation right now when she's on her way meeting me? Like, we can talk about this in person. And I just, I sent that message. And then after I sent that message, like, they replied and, they seemed totally fine. And it's like at that moment, I realized that it was all in my head. And I share this because I think sometimes we do things or we don't do things because of just perceptions. If you want to do something, right, and let's say you tell a person, you think to yourself like, oh, I haven't seen a person in a while, or I haven't seen a friend in a while, right? You don't reach out to them, and then when you do want to reach out to them, you think to yourself, oh, it's been a while. It's been a while since we spoke, right? Hey, I didn't realize the time. Um, so when you're faced with that opportunity to reach out to them, you feel kind of, you feel embarrassed, you feel awkward, you feel, I want to say, like, ashamed too. You don't know if you're worthy enough. Like, all those feelings, all those insecurity feelings. And you what you do is that you just go back into your comfort zone, and then you say, okay, I don't want to, yeah, I don't want to reach out. Like, yeah, they don't want to talk to me because we haven't spoken in a while. And then what happens is that the time goes longer and longer and longer. And I know I sound so emotional, right? Like, that's one of the things about me. Like, that's why I say, like, sometimes I hate like reaching out, or I hate talking about things, because I think I've come off as so clingy. Um, like, it's a me thing. It's a me thing. But I'm trying to overcome this stuff, and I'm trying to be open. even though it makes me very uncomfortable, because I'm hoping that this stuff helps you guys. I'm 33 years old right now, and I think to myself, there's a lot of people that I feel like maybe things could have gone another way, right? Maybe I would still talk to them. Maybe we would still be friends and things like that. But it's like I let those like comfortable habits get into my mind because it's just like it's easy. It's easy to feel insecure. It's easy to think that you're not good enough. It's easy to think, "Oh, maybe they're not talking to me because maybe they're too busy, or maybe they forgot about me. Maybe I didn't mean anything." And I know this sounds terrible, but like for instance, because this is just you and me, you guys, right? And I'm reading chat, right? Wait, hold on. Yeah, yeah, good morning. Yeah. So, um, Uh, yeah, I know this sounds terrible, and I don't want to cut you guys off. It's just that I have that kind of mind that once my mind starts thinking, like sometimes if I stop, I just lose my train of thought. But I just feel terrible because like I think to myself like how my life could have been and all the people that I might have pushed aside. And it's like I don't like I said, I don't want that for you guys. You know? It's like sometimes I think to myself like when I get into these habits and then I say, "Oh crap, it's been a while since I spoke to a person." I think that the other person thinks, "Oh, Erica doesn't care about me." So, for instance, this sounds kind of this might sound kind of like strange, but if you guys remember, I used to speak, I used to do live streams, and I used to talk like to bounce off. You remember bounce off, right? If you guys have been following my stream. And I told, it's like bounce off had so much like mental anguish and so much like, feelings of low self-worth. And I thought to myself, I thought, oh, let me help bounce off because I saw a lot of myself in bounce off. It's not like I beat myself up every day. Like that's not it. I don't look at the world and I don't think like, oh, I'm a loser. Like that's not it. But there was a time in my life that I was like that. And it was this disturbing, like, part of my life because I just thought to myself, like, how come I'm not better? How come I'm failing? How come it's not, how come I'm not like other people? And the only way I got out of it is I just had to shut off those thoughts. And I thought to myself, during that time, I wish I had more people in my life who were supportive, who would say, like, Erica, I know how you feel about this or that, but like, don't worry, like, you can do it, you can do it. So I tried that same thing with Bounce Off. I thought to myself, I know Bounce Off is like telling me about all their problems. I know like they would do drawing and then they would criticize themselves and they would stop and I would try to be that like reassuring voice. That reassuring voice like that I wish that I had, during those dark times. And I remember like Bounce Off like went away. Like I think it was around the time I started doing those clown videos. And I know people would say like, Erica, you sound really, really like sensitive. And I am really sensitive. But I remember like I did a stream about it. And I said something like, I wonder where Bounce Off is. Like I wonder if I scared off Bounce Off. Like I wonder if I triggered something. And Bounce Off like replied. And Bounce Off did a comment saying something like, I'm surprised you still remember me, Erica. I'm surprised that like, something along the lines of, like, I'm surprised you still remember me. And it's just like, I don't know if I just took it really negative, but I thought to myself, like, I thought I spent all this time trying to make this person better. And did this person just think like I threw them away or something, or did they just throw me away because I wasn't I stopped doing certain streams, or I stopped like, having that thing. And I felt really bad. I couldn't figure out if it was me or them, but it just triggered something within me, you know? And I don't like talking about this. And people would say, like, Erica, this is not good, but I just felt so sad. I felt like I failed. I felt like, I just felt really bad. I felt really bad. Anyway, so Bounce Off never really returned to my channel after that. I posted a comment about something about Steven Tyler, and I said, "Oh, look at Steven Tyler. He's amazing." Something like, "Oh, he's like 60. I think he's like in his 60s." And I said, "See how he is about life." And I didn't mean it in like a disparaging way. I have a lot of respect for Steven Tyler. I think it's amazing that he was still singing and performing and living his best life. And I got a comment from Bounce Off saying something like Steven Tyler was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He has no talent. And I saw all this negativity, and it's just like I wrote something like, Steven Tyler is incredibly gifted. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like he's not a loser. He is actually truly talented. He wrote Dream On, I believe, when he was like 16 or so. And, I called Bounce Off I called out Bounce Off, and then Bounce Off just disappeared from my stream, and then I thought to myself, like, "Geez, all that time I spent, I feel like it just imploded because, like, Bounce Off never went back on my stream." Again, it's not the fact that people leave my channel that got under my skin. It's just the fact that I invested so much time, right? I invested time and I wanted to see this person improve. And at the end of it, I can't help but think that it was, like maybe I triggered them, maybe I made them worse. I don't know. But it truly made me sad. So yeah, I never spoke about this, but I'll talk about this kind of thing because like I think the reason why it makes me sad is that it's like I see this thing and I think to myself like I just worry, I just fear and that kind of stuff. And I it just like it's just kind of haunting. So yeah, wherever Bounce Off is. So yeah, wherever Bounce Off is, I hope the best for Bounce Off, truly. I was hoping that they disappeared and, they got their life together and things like that. But just to get like that Steven Tyler comment, just tearing Steven Tyler down. And I've never heard really much bad things about Steven Tyler at all. I haven't, like, yeah, I think, he's gone through ups and downs, but, he really he's a great performer. I mean, he's a great entertainer, I mean, like, hell, it's Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. What am I supposed to say? It's like when you watch a great performer on stage, right? Let's say some people really like Taylor Swift. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift. Like, I don't know much about Taylor Swift, but I admire, all the stuff that she's accomplished, kind of thing. And I'm not going to tear Taylor Swift just because, I might not be the biggest fan of her music. Yeah, I like some of her songs, but not all the songs. It's almost like a thing where you say, maybe you don't like country music for instance, right? It's not your forte. And but when you see a country singer, you'll be like, whatever. But I don't feel the need to tear that person that I don't know down. See? But if you do that, it's usually from a place of insecurity. I don't know where it comes from. Yeah, so Schwa says it's them. You obviously have an extreme amount of empathy for this person and try to help them, but at the same time, you can't expect to change people. You can only help them change if they want to. They want to. I know, I know. Yeah. So that's why, like, that's one of the reasons why you see me like talk about mental health over and over and over. It's because, like, I think to myself, there must be people out there. There has to be people out there who have like similar thoughts to me. There are so many billions of people billions of people out there in the world. I do not have a unique personality. Um, my thoughts in my head are not unique. There are a lot of people who are just, have these thoughts, and they let those thoughts, understandably so, affect their lives, right? How we are in life is as a result of our actions and our thoughts. So there's a thing that came to mind. Whatever you believe in life, right? Whether you think you can or you can't do it, you're right. Like if you don't think you can do something, you're right. If you do think you can do something, you're right. But like how much like work do you want to put into stuff? So I've had so many just reflections and conversations and things like that. And I realize that, yeah, I have this thing where I think about things, right? And I let my thoughts, of course, right, control my actions. And then sometimes things happen, and then if it doesn't go the way I want it to, because like like it's like if it doesn't go the way I want it to, like I have this thing, I said, like, oh man, geez, like, oh, maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that kind of stuff. And yeah, so I'm actively trying to work against those thoughts. And I don't want you guys to think like I have a feeling of hopelessness. Like I don't want you guys to think that, okay? I don't have that kind of thing where I think like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sad, I'm a loser," that kind of stuff. Like that's not it, okay? But it takes so much awareness for me and so much checking for me to just be like, "Hey, okay, this is what I want to do. Okay, I need to make it happen." Like I cannot just get into this whole thing where I'm like worried about like, oh, am I being too clingy? Oh, well, oh yeah, I don't want to like talk because I think that it's not gonna, I think if I open up it's gonna be like bad. Oh, I don't want to talk because it's like I feel like I'm just gonna cry and then people are gonna think I'm emotionally unstable kind of thing. Like it's just you see where I'm getting at? Like that's why I decided to do this stream, because it's like 3 a.m. and I thought, like, I've had these feelings in my head and I kept it in, but I can't keep these things in. Like I realize like if I keep keeping these things in, it's doing a disservice to myself. Like, and it's not helping other people. So, yeah, I know I'm repeating myself. I have a bad habit of doing that kind of thing. But I just want you guys to just like reach out to people more. Try and understand both sides more, kind of thing. Like the bounce off situation that I explained, right? Like that really hurt me. Like I'm surprised you still remember me, kind of thing. I was like, oh geez, did they just like stop looking at my stream because they just like instantly said screw you, Erica? Like I triggered them and then they just left? Like is that it? Like I said something wrong and it wasn't meant to be like, okay, like offensive, but it's like they just thought like, okay, yeah, screw you, Erica. I don't want to like converse with you anymore. I'm out of here. Like you messed up. Or is it because like I'm surprised that I'm surprised that you still remember me because they have low self-worth. Whatever the case is, it implies somewhere along the lines that I failed. Um, trying to like make them a better person, and it's not my responsibility, right? It ultimately lies with the other person. But because I feel like I invested time, and I tried to use the words, it's like, hey, I don't want you to be like me. And I don't want you to be in that like that place that I was. Like please, like here's the information, like here's some words that I wish I heard. And then to see them just kind of like detach and everything, it's like, frig, did I do the wrong thing? Did I, did I look like I just like cared too much? And they're like, what the hell? I don't know, but I don't regret like all those streams where I was like, hey, bounce off, that kind of stuff. Like, I don't regret it. I don't regret trying to invest time into people. But what I do regret is sometimes I feel like people pull back in my life, and either A, I can't follow up with them, or B, um, they just, like sometimes I feel like people blow up at me. And it just like I said, I'm very sensitive. I'm such a sensitive person. Like people, I know some people, they commented in my comment section, like one person did, and they're like, "Oh, Erica, you seem like you're so confident," or at times, but deep down inside, you guys, I'm actually a sensitive person. Like words can really cut me. Like just like it feels like some words that I hear, it's like a knife and it stabs you and then it gets twisted. And when I feel those feelings, right? Sometimes I think to myself like, "Hey, I want to say something." And sometimes I do, but other times I keep quiet because I think like, "Man, did I really mess up? Like did I really cause like even a worse thing?" I've shared with you guys like my whole thing in life is I don't care about, I know this is going to sound really like kind of like platitudes here, right? But like I don't care about money. I don't care about being like the most popular YouTuber or anything. I'm like I don't aspire to that. But what I do care about is just like leaving the world a better place. I've always felt that way. Like I want to make I don't like whoever I interact with, like I want to help make them a better person while I'm, trying to become a better person myself. And I think that's what life is about. It's about just making sure that we try to help people, on a humanistic level. I see sometimes people are nice to each other, but it's on such a superficial thing. It's like, "Oh, how are you? Oh, I'm good. Oh, okay," and it's just like very like it's very detached. I hate that. I hate that so much. So that's why when I pick up, like people are just kind of like, keep away, keep away. You can kind of see sometimes I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I don't want to reach out to this person because they just seem way too like detached, and I don't want to be a clingy spider. And yeah, so I'm gonna keep my distance too. I don't want to like talk to a person who's kind of polite and be like, "Oh, so what's up? How are you doing? Did you, it's just like, it's like because of certain things, certain kind of thoughts going through my head. It's like certain fears. And yeah, so I did my stream earlier yesterday and I talked about like aloha and things like that, how I forgot about aloha. And, I see people reach out to me and I see them just so warm and gracious. And sometimes, like, I would see people like I don't even know them and they're just so warm and friendly to me. And I see it in Hawaii a lot more than I saw it in New York. It's just like a different level. Like I said, if you're in Hawaii, you know what I'm talking about. It's like that warm spirit. And yeah, I've decided to embrace that kind of thing. But again, I'm like a really sensitive person who sometimes just kind of looks at situations and makes assumptions and things like that. So, yeah, I'm trying to be a better person. I'm trying to be a better person, but yeah, things get under my skin sometimes. And that's why you can understand why I'm so worried about being seen as clingy, because a person would see me and be like, "Oh my gosh, oh, look at Erica. She's so fragile. She's so vulnerable." Yeah. And now you can also understand why I just thought to myself, I said, "Man, I gotta work on myself. I gotta work on myself and work on my brain. I can't even entertain the thought of entering in any relationship um, until I work on myself, you know, mentally, emotionally, all that stuff, physically, that kind of stuff. I'm not saying I want to block out people or anything like that, but I just want to be, a stronger person, a better improved version of myself. And I don't want to get into the habit where I just get lost in my head and wall off and things like that. And I just seem kind of like, oh yeah, maybe I'm being a bother. Maybe, Maybe I'm like, oh, maybe I did this, maybe I didn't intend to do certain things, kind of thing. You can kind of see where I'm getting at. But yeah, it's I got to work through habits and just communicate. That's what I was instructed, like, just communicate more, Erica. Like, you just got to get past your feelings and just talk, and maybe people will understand. And you know it was I think I just get so used to me thinking people should put off this image of being perfect and everything's always fine and everything's always happy, that I seem like I think to myself, like, a person would just think I'm like a crazy person. I just, like, how come I care about this stuff too much? And that makes me feel insecure, right? But at the end of it, I need to be around people who understand me, you know, who understand, like, hey, yeah, Erica might be a little strange. She might be a little emotional, but that's where, it's that's who she is. Like, we're all different, right? We're not all like perfect. We're not all perfect, and we're not all robotic, and we're not like, oh, everything, like I said, everything is fine, everything's always great, everything's always happy. All I do in life is just have great times. I'm just always just on point, always, like, no one is like that. People have feelings, people are human beings. And I've seen people in my life, and this is just on a personal level, where they are so consumed with trying to be perfect. And they are, they give off this image of being perfect. And after a while, it catches up with them. And then I've seen people just absolutely destroy themselves. There was this one woman in particular that made me really sad because, like, from the outside in, she was so careful about how she appeared. And I had no idea there was some really bad stuff going off in her life. And she said that she felt like she just couldn't tell anybody because she had set up, you know, everything she always wanted to tell people, like, hey, it's perfect, my life is great and things like that. But she was falling apart on the inside. And I've when I was talking to her, right? Like, I remember I was mind blown. I thought to myself, like, what, this is the same person? Like, I couldn't believe it. It just shocked me. And I can tell that she has a lot of things going on in her life, but if you don't know her well at all, right? If you just kind of see on the outside in, right? She'll seem like she's great, but she's really not. And I don't know how her life is. I haven't spoken to her in a while, but I wanted to share that because I don't want you guys to think, hey, if you see a person and they just look so well put together and polished, and, let's say they're very beautiful or something like that, I don't want you guys to think like this person doesn't have bad days. Their life could literally be falling apart and you don't know it because they're very careful about their image. See? So I don't go on in life thinking everybody is perfect. I don't. I understand that people have flaws. I understand that, yeah, there might be people who are they don't really have much problems in their life, and or they keep it in, or they're just very steadfast, or they're very strong emotionally. But I do believe there is a sizable portion of the population where they have um, they have issues that they need to resolve, but they just don't confront them. And yeah, going back to Miss USA, 2019, go look it up. Chessie Christ. It was very haunting to me, to hear about that, because from the outside in, she looks so perfect, beautiful woman, well educated, lawyer, correspondent, model, that kind of stuff. But she had so much pain behind her, and she, like I said, she ended, you know, all that stuff. And I think it really woke people up about mental health issues. And like I said, when I heard about the story, I did a lot of research on it. Um, I was reading up on it because I thought to myself, oh, I don't want to stream. I don't want to talk. Let me read up about this. And it just made me feel very, 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 very sad. And I was so depressed because I would read that story about her, all the stuff in her life. People would find out more things. And I thought to myself, how can a woman who just looks so picture perfect from the outside, so accomplished, how can a woman feel insecure when she's so well educated and so beautiful and at the top of her game, kind of thing? Like most women, like I'd say 99% of women will never be beauty pageant beautiful, aesthetically. Um, okay, maybe not 99%, but it's like, I'd say 90% of women. It's like the whole thing, right? The hair, the makeup, all that stuff. But and being Miss USA, that's very, very, very rare. Like 99% of women will not be Miss USA. And I think when we think about people like a Miss USA, we think that these people should be absolutely flawless. They should be that the image of perfection, and they should just always be happy and smiley and no problems in their life because it's Miss USA. But she obviously had a lot of problems in her life and she was keeping a lot of things in. I remember watching her YouTube videos too, and that even more depressed me because I could, like hindsight being 2020, you look at her, you can tell something's not right. Something's not right. Like it just like she was so beautiful though that people couldn't notice it. The fact that she's so beautiful, she's Miss USA, like yeah, she can't really have issues. How can she have issues? This is the former Miss USA. She has all this clothes and she's doing this and she's doing that. She can't be depressed, but she was really depressed. And you notice small little things. Maybe people could say you're over analyzing the videos, but it's like you look at way she is, you look at her eyes. It's like you look at the smile, but you could see the eyes are not happy. You could kind of tell that she's just forcing herself. And it's like once you see that face of depression and knowing what happened, it's so it's so like disturbing. Um because it's like you could see that this is a person who needed help, but they never got help. Um I don't know if she was seeing I know she was seeing a therapist for a while, but she didn't get the help that she needed. I think her mind was just her emotional state, her mind, it was just something. They never shared too much information. There's all sorts of speculations about that. Insecurities about being old. She was saying that, I think something like along the lines of she felt like being 30 was too old, or she had a lot of insecurities because she was 30. It's like, dude, it's like you're so beautiful. You're so gorgeous. You're so well educated. How can you have insecurities? And she wrote about this, I think, in Elle or something, some magazine, and it's like it seems relatable. It is relatable, but to know that it wasn't just like a casual, like, oh, I feel sad because I'm getting older. It might have been a really deep seated issues. Um, yeah, it's something, but yeah, people don't notice it because the viewers would look at it and be like, she's so pretty. She's so pretty. Like maybe they noticed something was off, but they're like, that can't be it. I must be projecting or something. This is she may be stressed out because she has all this stuff, but she's pretty. She's gonna do for far in life. Yeah, someone asked, why do I do these streams that was just for people? Why shouldn't I do these streams? I think that's the problem too, right? Some people think to themselves, Erica's doing this stream, she's talking to four people. Why bother, right? What's the point of doing it? I think it's actually a pretty important conversation to talk about. And I know my brain is telling me, like, really, Erica, are you sure? I think it's a really important conversation to talk about overall because I think people have these thoughts in their head. And I want people to understand that if you have some of these thoughts in your head, like you're not alone. You're really not alone. So I hope that we all work through these things. I could have kept this stream private. I could have not told anybody about these things going on in my head. But I you know, I'm being encouraged to be more open, to get out of my little shell, to be um to just be more forthright rather than just like bottle stuff in. And I think that that's how people grow. You don't grow by just having these thoughts and then letting these thoughts kind of like repress your repress your actions. Or and I wanted to share it because I thought it was important that people know about, let's say, certain things like that whole Miss USA thing. I think I'm gonna remember the Miss USA stuff for years. Um, and every time I look into it, I'm like, man, was there more information? Was there more information? There's all sorts of speculations. But yeah, this was, sometimes people just look, like I said, people look at beautiful people. People look at people. Let's say if you look at Jeff Bezos, right? Would you imagine if he had feelings of insecurity? You probably wouldn't. You'd be like, this is freaking Jeff Bezos. Or The Rock, right? Dwayne Johnson. You'd be all like, Dwayne Johnson probably has no depression. He probably was always a winner in life. He's probably perfect. He's so popular. He has muscles. He is an action star and famous movie star and wrestler and things like that. He must not feel like a loser. He must always be a winner. But you don't know. You don't know if Dwayne Johnson has feelings of insecurity at times. I'm pretty sure he probably does at times. But he works through it. He works through it. He doesn't like at least that's what it seems, right? Because he has a very career kind of thing. But you don't know. Maybe Dwayne Johnson is insecure at times, right? I mean, like it's not a bad thing. It's a human thing. We're not robots. That's what I'm trying to get at. So if you feel like insecure and then you just like look at another person and you're like, oh, I'll never get to that level kind of thing, then you're never gonna get to that level. Not even close, because you just removed yourself from that little fighting pool. And that's why for me, I'm trying to, be different, and I'm trying to um I'm focused on my mental health and trying to change habits kind of thing. Um not because I'm like super depressed or anything like that, but I realize like my way in life has not been working as well as I wanted it to. And yeah, so that's the kind of thing that goes off in my mind. If you take someone through therapy but they've been depressed 4/5 of their life, can they deal with feeling happy? That would feel alien to me. I haven't been depressed for 4/5 of my life, so I can't make assumptions. But the way I would think is that, imagine, if I was a therapist. I'm definitely not a therapist. I'm definitely not a therapist. I completely appreciate and respect, and I think the mental health profession is amazing. Uh, but if I was a therapist, what I would do is I would say, have you had feelings of happiness? And if the person says, yeah, but they're fleeting, I would tell them, try and find a way to find more moments of those happiness. It's not going to be easy, but just keep that as your goal. If you have that goal, like, hey, let me try to be happier. Let me try to find ways to truly be happier. I think that if you see it that way, right? Like, I want to be happier. okay, let me go out for a walk. I want to be happier. Let me try to, uh, you know, like I feel lonely. Let me try to reach out to my friends, kind of thing. I think that would do tremendous for mental health. And it won't be overnight, but it'll be a small little progression. I feel like certain people, like a person who is depressed for 4/5 of their life, that person needs to get mental health treatment. Psychologist, psychiatrist, life coach, all those stuff, I don't know, spiritual guru, whatever it is, right? They should get help in their life. I don't see mental health as taboo. If I went to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, I've been to one of them, okay? I can't remember off the top of my head. But if you do that, if you do that, I've been through like therapy sessions, counseling, that kind of stuff, you will find that your life is more calming. But the thing that you need to do is you need to stay consistent with it. And the other thing that you have to do is believe you can get through it and also be able to change. If you are not able to change, if you are not willing to change, if you cannot break the cycle kind of thing, it won't work. Like, for instance, right? Let's say, and that's what I'm saying, like you have to figure out where your comfort points in are and ask yourself, is that really healthy? Let's say let's say I have an insecurity issue, right? Let's say someone calls me fat. Let's give an example here, right? Let's say someone calls me fat. If I blow up at that person and I say, you can't tell me I'm fat. How dare you tell me I'm fat? Is wrong with you? You're such a jerk for calling me fat. If I blow up at them, I'm going to cause them to feel bad. But I have to ask myself, why am I blowing up at the idea of someone calling me fat? If they're just like, oh, hey, it looks like you gained like 10 pounds, I just wanted to let you know, kind of thing. Or, hey, I noticed that you gained 20 pounds. I'm wondering if everything is okay. If I blow up at that person and say, how dare you call me fat? How dare you, insinuate all that stuff about me? It's just like if I blow up at their comment to me, and it's not supposed to be a malicious comment. Maybe it's like just like a concerned comment, or a comment where it's just like just stating the obvious kind of thing. What the problem is not with them. That's misplaced anger. It's coming from me if I blew up at them. You see where I'm getting at? I am not that kind of person to blow up at people. Because I just, I've been on the opposite side. So, I see people like that, and then but what I tend to do is I tend to absorb it and think, "Oh man, I really messed up. Man, I got to watch out what I say. Oh geez, I never meant to, call her fat or call her irresponsible. It's just like I was just a little worried, so I said something, and I guess I said something wrong. Yeah, I better just like wall off. You see where my habits kind of like get conditioned, and I'm not able to confront them because I think to myself like, crap, man, this person's really deeply affected by what I said. And part of me thinks like, okay, that person should get some help, right? That person should get some treatment. But at the end of it, if they recognize it, right? It's like it's not up to me to point those things out and then say, "Hey, you have an anger problem. Like I didn't mean to call you fat. I just wanted to tell you like I noticed that you gained 20 pounds over the course of 3 months, and I'm wondering what's going on." Like it's not a personal attack. It's just me wondering. But yeah, if they're doing that misplaced anger towards me, if they're raging at me, again, it's a them issue, right? But it's easy for me, you guys, yeah, I think you guys pick up how I am. It's easy for me to just take it and just like be like, oh man, I really cause them to have like negative feelings. I just wanted to help them. But yeah, a person like that, if they blow up, I think part of them, they have so much deep insecurity that that's their only reaction. Like they don't want to reflect, they don't want to think about themselves, they don't want to criticize themselves, they don't want to feel like a failure, you know and they have these insecurities about maybe they do feel like they're fat, right? And they just get triggered so easily. But the best way to make that feeling go away, to forget that they gained weight, is to blame the other person. So that way they look at their body, and then whenever they look at their body, it's like, oh yeah, so and so called me fat, or they insinuated that I'm fat. I'm mad at them, and then it's like I don't want to talk to so and so because they insinuated I'm fat. But a lot of the times the problem continues to go on. So even if a person just like says, okay, I don't want to deal with any person who calls me fat, they're still going to hold that feeling, right? Because it's like a unresolved issue. And it's not up to other people, especially not mental health professionals. I'm not a mental health professional, obviously, to be able to get deep down inside and ask them like, where's all this hurt coming from? Where's all this pain coming from? Like, I know you're lashing out at me, but what is the deeper issue here? Like, I'm not trying to criticize you. I'm just trying to figure out why you're getting offended if I'm saying that, hey, I noticed you gained like 20 pounds in the last 3 months, right? But I think sometimes people, it's a ego protectionist measure. They don't want to feel bad about themselves. Uh they rather just kind of like destroy the other person rather than look within. And that's one of those like things that it's like I see it, and it just saddens me so much because I think to myself like, hey, people, if they're in that kind of headspace, like they need to get mental health. And again, I don't mean that as an insult. I don't mean that as an insult, especially when I've seen the benefits of getting therapy and such. Yeah. I don't have anything against prescription drugs. A majority of a lot of saying this is the majority of people are gonna get pharma into oblivion. Uh, I think a polyvagal theory is, what is a polyvagal theory? Yeah, I don't, I'm not gonna knock prescription drugs, but from my understanding, because I've known several people who have been diagnosed with depression, who have taken antidepressants. I've heard about yeah, a number of people. They don't stay on the antidepressants because it makes them feel kind of like off. They don't feel like they're themselves. They don't feel happy. From what I've been described, it's not like they're happy, and it's not like they're sad. It's like they're strangely stable. And like I said, I've never been on antidepressants, but my feeling is that I feel that a lot of people, a chunk of people, right? It's not the medication that they need. It's like therapy. It's truly like talking things out, figuring out what their negative habits are, what their negative thoughts are, and then like addressing their fears head on, not just burying stuff, okay? Not just being all like, oh, I wake up today and I'm depressed. Yeah, I'm gonna hide my depression. It's more like being just very open about it and saying, these are the thoughts in my head. Can you tell me if these are healthy thoughts or not? I want to be happy. I really want to be better as a person. So I could really use steps, advice, that kind of stuff, conversations. Holding trauma in your body is in short, but it's different stages from shutdown to flow. Basically, if I shut down, it can be hard to breathe. Yeah, I mean, like I used to, I have this, like I told you guys, I have a problem like shutting down, keeping things inside. Um, and yeah, I'm trying to address it now. So yeah, and that's why I rate those like those little successes, like oh, I reached out to someone. I felt, I know this sounds stupid, you guys, to write in a community post, but I did it. Jeez. And then I feel like sometimes when I do that, like I have like one eye open and then I just look at it and I'm like, oh, they're gonna think negatively and they're like, and when it comes out differently, I'm like, I'm kind of pleasantly surprised. So I'm trying to force myself to be in positive experiences. And I think like, hey, if it doesn't work out, I'll be like, well, at least I did it. At least I got out a little bit of my comfort zone. Yeah. So I encourage you guys to do that same thing. Live a life live a life where you address your fears and you just admit like, hey, you're not perfect. You're not, you're not expected to be perfect either, but just live a life where you don't think to yourself, oh, there are so many people that I wanted to reach out to or reconnect with or talk to or but or ask them certain things, but I'll yeah, I'll just stay quiet. Aryan, as a person who hid from the world, I would recommend that you seek help, if you haven't already, kind of thing, and try to actively get yourself out of your comfort zone. Because you'll find that I think the world is a much more brighter and loving place um, if you see it differently and you try to be different too. That's just my thinking. I know you said that, you spoke to a mental health professional, but I actually don't think going just hiding from the world is really the best thing to do long term. I really don't. I don't. If you're anything like me, you can lose track of time really easily. Like, whoa, where did my life go, kind of thing. And again, it's easier to hide away from the world. It's easier to just kind of think to yourself, okay, I'm not gonna go out. I'm just gonna just do my comfortable habits. Then say, yeah, you know what? Let's go for it, kind of thing. Sometimes when I get out of my comfort zones, it makes me very anxious because then I think to myself like, oh, this is not comfortable. This is not what I'm used to, kind of thing. And yeah, I can't see what's in front of me. And appreciate it and stuff like that. Sometimes I think to myself like, just just wall off kind of thing. But I can't do that anymore. I can't do that. I gotta be more of a pain in the ass. I gotta just be like, okay, Erica, just force yourself. Force yourself. Improvement. Force yourself. It's not pleasant, but I really gotta force myself. Yeah. Yeah, depression is one of those things. When they talk about depression being a terrible thing, it's like you guys gotta it's not just like terrible thing because you feel sad, but the terrible thing about depression is it can really cripple your life. You can go through life and then just feel like you treated people poorly, unintentionally, that kind of stuff. Like you just didn't realize how you were coming off. That's one of my big regrets. Like, geez. Um, but the other thing too is that you don't realize like how different your life could have been, right? Like instead of just being all like, hey, yeah, I want to just stay in my comfort zone. It's so much better to be just force yourself and just say, hey, try something different. 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 Um yeah, it's, get yourself more and more out of your comfort zone. My plan for myself is that I want to live a life where I'm mentally strong. I will always be sensitive, I think so. But I want to be able to recognize patterns within myself, within other people, be more proactive about it, be a much better communicator, and make sure that I work on myself to the point where I will look back at my life and say, yeah, I fucked up for a good, I feel like the last 33 years of my life, because I'm 33, right? I'm going to turn 34 in June. It's like that was just a learning experience for me. And in my 33rd year of life, I chose to actively get help because I thought to myself, I don't want to live another 33 years like this. I've seen people, you guys. I've seen people where they go into habits. And I'm going to talk about this one too. And I think some people are probably going to look back at this stream and be like, I don't want to listen to 1 hour of Erica talking about random things. But one of the reasons why I've been holding off on the frugal tip videos is I had this moment where I bumped into a person that made me look back at my habits. So, hear me out. This person has always been a homebody. This person has always saved money. They've always been frugal, which is not a bad thing. But the problem is that this person had a lot of money. And they were just thinking, they were living a lifestyle where they just didn't live the life that they wanted. I'm not saying like they were like super 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 cheap or anything like that, right? But it's like they could have done things to have a better life. But they just got stuck in this whole cycle of let me just be a homebody, let me just uh let me just save money. And I look at them and I see a great person, but I can't help but think, frick, this is like my frugal tips video, but it's like me times two or times three, that kind of stuff, right? And it really scared me. It really scared me because it's like I thought to myself, I don't want to live a life like that. Like, I believe it's important to be frugal, right? But I don't believe it's like, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to always save money, I'm going to hoard my money, and then tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to save money and I'm going to try to, like be frugal, be frugal, be frugal, be frugal. Like, I don't want my life to just be, oh, I was so focused on being frugal that I didn't focus on the other things in my life. And I know that sounds really crazy, but hear me out, right? People who are frugal, I think sometimes those people can be real homebodies because they would say, I don't want to go out, I don't want to spend money, I don't want to do things too much. I'm just going to go home and just stay inside. Like, that's the comfort zone. And I see a lot of that within myself. I think you guys also know that too. And I don't want to live a life like that. I really don't. Like, I want to be frugal, but I don't want to like take it to that kind of extreme. So moving forward, right? Moving forward, it's like you see that kind of thing. It's like that mirror. I just thought to myself, like, yeah, I gotta live a little bit more. I gotta live a little bit more. It makes me really uncomfortable. I gotta live a little bit more. For sure. Yeah, I don't listen to Jordan Peterson. Oh, good night, Spear. Yeah, I don't listen to Jordan Peterson. Like I've saw like one or two of his clips, but other than that, I haven't watched anything like short clips. I think everybody on YouTube has seen like one or two Peterson's videos. So Tyler says I tell my brother the same thing. He has no kids, no woman, and loads of money. He doesn't use it for enjoyment. Lol. Yeah. Um so that was one of the other things too. I was thinking to myself, like, for fuck's sake, like, yeah, I got this like tunnel vision where it's like, hey, save money, save this, you go. I mean, like, I know this sounds like stupid, right? But it's like this, okay? You wake up, and then you wake up, and then you're like, okay, let me save money, let me cook at home, let me always eat at home, and then when you always eat at home, what does that do? That causes you to be a homebody, right? You don't go out with people, you don't socialize. I think it's tougher because of the you know what. For instance, in Hawaii, you can't eat at a restaurant. You have to take out. So even if you buy the food, you're still eating at home, right? And it's just like one of those things. It's like, frick, people need to go out. People need to see other people. They need to socialize. That's my firm belief now. That's my firm belief. And I have some I have some regrets because I think that some of the things that happened was a choice, was one of those like things that it's just like at the end of it, all roads lead to being like a home, me just staying in a comfort zone and being a homebody, which makes me feel really, really like embarrassed to talk about that kind of stuff. It's like, oh yeah, Erica just conditioned herself to just be a homebody, and she was just on the computer, always being a homebody. So when she had to think about going out, she would just be like, what? Why am I gonna go out? I always just focus on being at home and being frugal and, hold on, my ear's ringing right now. Um, being frugal and it's just like all like again all roads lead to being a homebody, and you guys you guys got to watch out for that pitfall. Maybe I should make a frugal tips video about that, but you can save money and still go out. Like you really shouldn't just be staying at home for most of your life. I recognize that now. Hey, you know what? As long as you have a great wife, great family, great support system, that I really feel like that helps people a lot through difficult times. I think I told you guys, like, I used to volunteer at a food bank, and I remember I just see so many people in need and things like that. At that point, right, you need to just like turn to your support, turn to your family and things like that. Yeah. But yeah, I've always heard that, right? Live for the moment, things like that. But you have to just not, I hear about that, right? Like people talk about like just do it. And I just thought it was like empty words. I thought like how am I going to live for the moment? How do I live for the moment truly? Like, I'm in the moment right now. How do I live for the moment? But I think that you don't really live for the moment until you change your mind and you say, "Hey, you know what? I want a better life. Hey, you know what? I want to, that freaking restaurant I wanted to go. I want to go there. I want to have a new experience. I want to see different things in my life. I want to be more, I don't want to just like be going through life. I actually truly want to enjoy life. Like, be more mindful about it. I want to connect with people. I want to talk to people. I want to just like go out to see things and enjoy things and entertainment, and I want to just have experiences. Like, truly, like, experiences, okay? Experiences. Feel those experiences. Not just go through the art museum or go through the aquarium and just like walk through it. It's like savor the moment. Look at the I don't know, the sea otter exhibit and say that's really cool. I'm really happy I went to the aquarium. That kind of feeling. Like, that's what I want to have. I want to experience experiences and then keep that in my mind and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to file this in my little life log. That's what I want. I want to look at things and say, hey, it's a new adventure. This is cool, you know? So I think if you have experiences plus the right people in your life, plus a healthy mindset, that's a winning combination. You don't have to spend a lot of money. It doesn't cost too much money to just do certain things, but it takes a different mindset. Like, if someone tells me, for instance, hey, Erica, do you want to check out this or do you want to check out that, right? Like, let's say there's a new grocery store, right? And someone says, hey, Erica, do you want to check out the new grocery store? I'd be all like, I might think to myself, like, I don't know if I really want to care. I really care about that grocery store. Wrong. That's a wrong way to think about it. What I should think about is, hey, someone is inviting me to go check out a grocery store. They want to experience that experience with me. Experience the experience. And I should just say, like, hey, you know what? Maybe I don't want to experience. Maybe I don't want. Maybe I'm not a big fan of the grocery store, but I'm gonna try to enjoy it. I'm gonna try to have a good time with that. I'm gonna have a good time in that grocery store. Maybe I'll find some cool stuff there. You see? But at the end of it, if I'm with another person, I can say, yeah, the grocery store was underwhelming, but I'm happy that I experienced that experience with you. You see, there's a different kind of mindset there. And that's what I want to hold on to. I don't want to just like, again, I don't want to just be like, okay, I'll go with to the grocery store. Oh yeah, it's kind of small. Okay, whatever. See? See that difference? That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, I hope that this kind of stuff that I'm talking about helps you guys out. Maybe reframes your brain. Don't just see it as like, okay, it's just like one other thing to do. See it as like that kind of thing where you can enjoy things. You can see something differently. And I think that's a very, very beautiful thing. Yeah. Yeah. Do everything you can and tell people that you love them. I agree. Hold on. I'm sorry, you guys. So, where am I getting at? Yeah. Yeah, so you should always, you should always tell people that you love them and you care about them. And don't be afraid to be clingy, because at the end of the day, um, we're all gonna die eventually, right? We're all gonna die. And I don't want to live a life where I think to myself, coulda, woulda, shoulda. And I rather place myself in a vulnerable position rather than place myself in a position where I think to myself, I just walled up, you know? If I'm like being vulnerable to a person and they're not cool with it for whatever reason, then it's like I have no regrets because it was on my mind, kind of stuff. But yeah, the wall up strategy does not work. I'll tell you that straight up. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get going in about 10 minutes. I'm feeling tired. It's like 4:31. I'm gonna go back to sleep in a bit, but I just wanted to get that off my mind and just tell you some of the things I have going on. Um, I think life is really what we make of it, right? And we need to just get outside of our heads and then think to ourselves, hey, enjoy life. It's so beautiful. And yeah, not everything is perfect. Not everything is all happy and stuff. But it's okay. It's okay. And yeah, it's okay. It's okay because we just gotta regroup, be stronger, and all that stuff. I yeah. So when you do that kind of stuff, it's just, how would I say this? When you do that kind of stuff, just be in the moment. Appreciate things. Appreciate the people around you. Don't get lost in your head. Don't stay in depression. Don't wall up. Don't don't be afraid of being you. Be warm, be kind, have aloha. And if you do that, I really believe that your life will be better. I truly believe that. And that's why it's like I don't do that kind of stuff. Um on a personal note here. Um I I made the I was supposed to go and be at a convention. I wasn't, this is just really personal stuff. I wasn't planning to be in Hawaii this long. I, I was planning to be back in New York, but obviously, as you guys know, things happen. So I made plans to go to a convention. However, there's some plans. I gotta move my stuff out from New York. So I I wanted, I wanted to see Lewis. And I'm sharing this with you guys because at that moment I thought to myself, do I go to my convention or do I see him? And there's no hatred or anything between us. Um, he has different plans and stuff like that. It's gonna be, you know, traveling and stuff like that. Um, but it was just like a schedule thing, and I realized that if I had stayed in Hawaii for my convention, I would not be able to see him. And because I'm moving my stuff out of New York, I'm just going to be upfront with you guys. Like, because, I'm going to be in New York. I'm not going to, if I do a stream or something, I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, I was never in New York. But I'm going to be in New York. And I remember thinking to myself, I thought, crap, do I do my convention or do I forfeit that convention and just have a conversation? And I decided, like, I thought about it and I thought, nah, I'm not going to sell at the convention. I'm just going to go to New York. So I am going to be flying out to New York shortly. And I have a lot of things I got to talk about. And like I said, a lot of the stuff that I've shared, it's just one of those things like you realize. And I'm not embarrassed about saying this kind of stuff, It's like, it's one of those like learning lessons, those life lessons. This is a side about life that's the reality of things. When something doesn't work out, of course, right? You gotta move, you gotta get your stuff out. And I respect that, I understand that. But I had to make that decision. I thought, crap, do I choose my plushies or do I choose to see a person, knowing that this could very well be possibly the last time I see him in person? Um, and I chose the latter. So that is giving me a little bit of anxiety. Not gonna lie. Because I just feel so bad. I feel so bad. And a lot of the stream, you can see it's a lot of just thoughts. But like I said, I can't be in a relationship. I can't do any of that stuff. So I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, let's be in a relationship. Like I'm not at that mental point. But yeah, life moves on. And although it gives me anxiety, although I feel stress and I feel shame and I feel guilt and I feel all this wide range of emotions, I need to face, those kind of things. And yeah, again, I take full accountability for a lot of my actions, a lot of inactions. And I feel bad, I really feel bad. I feel bad about all the unintended things that I did. I feel bad about just failing, just just falling short, going into cycles and things like that. But truly, it is what it is. And yeah, yeah. So I gotta have that conversation. And yeah, again, it gives me a lot of anxiety. People will probably think this is like kind of strange for me to say this thing, but it gives me a lot of anxiety. Maybe you guys don't think it's strange or not, but it gives me anxiety because I think to myself, I just, I gotta just like, I want to say things, in person. And I don't know how it'll be taken. I think it'll be accepted. But like I said, I just think like at the end of the day, I'm just going to feel like I'm such a loser, that kind of stuff. I don't like feeling like a failure. I don't like feeling like I fell short. I don't like feeling like, it's like all this stuff. And you can kind of understand why I have this desire to just like, part of me is just like, yeah, or could just avoid, don't go. But the other part of me is like, no, you gotta go, Erica, because if you don't go, then you're gonna just feel like even more of a loser. See? So yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. And I talk about this stuff because it's like I recognize my mistakes and I recognize things. And that's why I said, like, I don't look at this as like a bad thing. I look at this as an opportunity to grow and be better. I really do. But I can't help but think I fell short in so many ways. And that makes me feel so bad. See? So, yeah. Um, it was, it made me sad. It made me really sad. But I share these things because I don't want you guys to go through that same kind of thing. I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes that I did. Because I think that people, when they're in marriages, relationships, I think that people fall into a lot of pitfalls. They don't communicate. They don't get out of their head. They get depressed. They don't do those kind of things that they should be doing. They're not able to see another perspective. And when you're not able to see another perspective, it causes so much hurt and so much pain. And you're not even aware about it. And I'm talking about like so much hurt and so much pain. It's like, I think that it just causes like a lot of disappointment. And but that's really my cross to bear. That's really my thing where I can just beat myself up about it all day, all night, or I can just say, hey, you know what? Like, I messed up. I really did. And I'm just gonna live my best life. Try to. And I hope the same for him. But it just, again, it makes me sad. Sometimes you have to lose something in order to gain something, right? Because a person can tell me, hey, Erica, you need to get out of here. You need to like get out of your head kind of thing. But you don't really, it doesn't really sink in unless you lose something that you really love and care about, you know? And then that, that just kind of like makes you think like, oh, geez. So it's so disturbing to see that kind of thing, to see, how much you failed. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I think I'm making the right choice to go. I know I'm making the right choice to go. 100%. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think I'm just gonna feel so much like emotions. So much pain and so much like guilt and so much like feelings. And when I feel it, I think I'm just gonna think to myself, like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe I'm crying over this stupid thing again. Like, yeah. And it's just, I can't believe I'm crying over this stuff again. Like, yeah. I can't believe it, you know? I can't believe it, but I'm just gonna be like, oh, I gotta be strong. I gotta be strong, but at the end of it, I'm still sensitive. you know? Yeah. I'm not I'm not a robot. I'm not one of those people where it's just, oh, okay, whatever. Like, it's just, it just makes me feel so much feelings. And I know, it's like, I know I'm gonna have to move on and things like that. I know I have to do, like, I have to focus on my mental health and stuff. But part of me just thinks to myself, like, oh, I feel like such an idiot. And then the other part of me feels like I failed, kind of thing. Like, it's like, that's the thing. It's like you see things and you just get horrified and with yourself. And what can I do about it? I can't do anything about it. And yeah, like I said, right, even if I was to get into a relationship, let's say now, right, it wouldn't work out. You know why it wouldn't work out? Because I'm not mentally there yet. Like, I know I'm gonna have rough patches and I'm gonna have to go through life and things like that. And I know that I just know, like, I need a lot of, like, therapy. I need therapy and I need help and I need to just work on myself. I don't want to ever have a person see me as like one of those people where they just think like, oh, yeah, it's like a disappointment or something like that. That's what I felt really bad about. I felt like I was a disappointment because I kept going into cycles. And yeah, that's my learning experience. That's my learning experience. It really is. But yeah. Yeah. Oh, you had a license for 10 years? Yeah. Yeah, I know. You're right. Don't think about perceptions. Yeah, I know. I know. I know. I know. I hate repeating myself. I'm so sorry, you guys, but I know. But it's this kind of stuff that just makes me feel this kind of feeling. And when I feel like that, I feel so guilty, you know? Like I couldn't keep myself in check at all. And at the end of the day, right, I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to hurt people accidentally. I don't want to hurt people unknowingly. I don't want to be that kind of person. And that's why, like I told you guys, like, I know, I know that, I just really have to focus on me, focus on getting my head right, focus on just working on myself. And when I do that, I'll be a better person. And I'll be able to be a good person in a relationship. But I know myself right now, I'm just not there yet. Recognition is something, but going through the process is another thing. And I wouldn't want to put anybody through that process. You see? That's what I think. I know this sounds like some people would say that sounds great, Erica, but part of me thinks like Geez, I wonder how many people I hurt and I didn't even know it. And that makes me feel really guilty. So, life is all about learning experiences. And yeah, it is. It is. Ow, I just poked my eye out. Yeah, dancing. Yeah, dancing toward dancing around feelings hurts you. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm that kind of person. Like I keep a lot of things bottled in. I don't wanna. I don't wanna, share certain things. It sounds so stupid, right? People will probably be like, Erica, shouldn't you be really open to like the people closest to you? And sometimes I don't because I think to myself, I don't want to burden them. I don't want them to like feel the pain. It's like a protectionist measure. And yeah, I'm just like saying screw it. I can't have that protection measure anymore. But I gotta just like I need I need that kind of thing where it's just me being able to be open and just saying, hey, I'm not 100%. Can we talk about things? I just want to know because I need some help. I don't feel mentally strong right now. And I I have a problem. It's kind of like it's not embarrassing to say that kind of stuff, but then I've always thought to myself, depending on who you say it to, that person may see you and just say like they might just judge and be like, man, this person is like problematic. I don't want to be with a person who's problematic. I want to be with a person who's perfect. And that's a my thought thing. Like that's my hold on, you guys. Oh crap, hold on. Sorry, you guys. Like that's the way that I view relationships. I know people would say like that's wrong, Erica, but I always thought to myself, I don't want to add to a person's like I don't want a person to just see me as problematic. I want a person to just see the best side of me, and that's why I kept so many things and I didn't want to just be like, oh, this is how I'm feeling right now and I have a problem right now. I can't break cycles, because people will construe that and be like, oh, okay, well, you're just not motivated enough. You're just not, you don't have the willpower to get through things right now. And I think that was always one of those things that I just thought, hey, I don't want to like seem, I don't want to say imperfect, but I don't want a person to be like, man, I'm in a relationship with a person and they're problematic or they got all these issues. And I think to myself, like, wouldn't you want to be with a person who's like, I got no problems in my life. My life is perfect. Like, how are you doing? I'm doing amazing right now. Yeah, we're good. We're always going to be good. That kind of stuff. And yeah, I got no issues. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like, that's what I've always thought. Like, and I know that's wrong, right? I see people, they're in relationships, and I don't know. Like, I don't hear people talk too much about problems. I hear people talk about, like, things that they do, but I don't hear about them communicate problems to one another. Maybe it's a problem like, oh, I have a problem, like, I have a job issue or something like that, or money issue, but it's not like emotional problems, really. I don't really pick that up. And I just think to myself, man, Like, who would want to be with a person who has emotional problems? Right? Because they would be like, I want to be in a relationship so I'm happy, not so I can deal with your freaking emotional problems. Like, that's what I've always thought. And you can see why it's like conditioned me to wall up. Because it's like, I just think to myself, like, okay, okay, that's not their problem. That's a you problem, Erica. So you gotta like just keep it inside and you just gotta like keep it together because once they pick up that you have problems, it's gonna be such a turnoff. See, and that's where all the communication issues lie in because it's like, yeah, I have that like fear, that fear of just being judged in a negative light and a fear that, it's going to be too much for a person to handle. And then they're going to say, yeah, I'm going to deal with a person who's like so much easier to deal with than deal with you. Like the person who's always like fun and flirty and they got like no problems, like that person. Like, think about it. Let's think about this realistically here, right? Let's say, you have a person that you get along with. Most of you guys are a guy, so I'll just say you guys, right? And let's say there's a person that you like or a person that you care for, but they have depression issues, right? And you pick that up. And then they start telling you, like, hey, I'm really depressed. I don't know how to get out of my head. Like, I'm really depressed. And I need to get help. You can look at that person and you can say, okay, I'll help you get help. Or you can look at that person and see them as a total flaw and be like, why do you have to why do you like have all these problems? Why can't you be like that cute barista who's just always happy and always smiling, you know? And it's like, because you see people, right? You see people just like casually walk and casually just be like so happy about things. And that's that's like one of my insecurities, it's like that's why a lot of the things it's just like you wall up because it's like you think to yourself like, man, this is like something that could just be a real big turnoff, and that leads to communication issues. And I'm sure other people, feel that same way. I'm sure that I'm not, like I said, I'm not the only person in the world to deal with like depression and problems handling things. Ultimately it's a me problem. But that was a fear that's been in my past. It's like I never wanted a person to see me and be like, oh, she's such a downgrade because she has mental health issues. Like she really gets depressed at times. Like I want to be with like if like I think about it, right? Like if I was a guy, I'd be like I want to deal with a chick who's like not problematic at all. Like she has like no problems. She's able to make me happy and she's always happy and I'll make her happy, but I don't have to deal with her sadness. Like that's what I think a guy would like. And I know reality isn't like that, but that's what I think is like idealized. Like who wants to deal with this kind of stuff? It's not attractive. It's not attractive for me to just talk about this stuff openly either, because people would say, "Oh man, Erica really sounds like, you know, yeah, if you put it that way, Erica, yeah, yeah." And then there's also that stigma that, that stigma that, yeah, you can't deal with another person. You gotta like focus on yourself. So that again, that's the reason why I'm telling you guys, like, I recognize like I can't be in any relationship, at least for the time being, because I just have to deal with these problems. And moving forward, my fear is that I'm gonna, let's say if I do meet a person, I'm gonna just tell them up front and I'll be like, hey, I want you to know, like, I'm not gonna be that happy chick all the time. I want you to know that I have problems. Like, I'm a human being. And that might be too much for you to handle. And if that's too much for you to handle, you can just like walk out right now. Cause I can't be in that situation where I have a mental health issue, and I'm just like such a turn off. I'm so problematic. Like, you can't recognize, you can't recognize like how painful things are sometimes. Like, that's a thing. And yeah, you know, that's me being vulnerable and talking about it. And I think like if people knew about that, they would just say like, yeah, you're right. I'm gonna go for that flirty barista. Screw you, Erica. Yeah, no, I'm reading. Oh, that's so beautiful, Arjun. Yeah, slick. Like that's the thing. Like it's not like you can't be in any relationship and be selfish. You can't be all like I want to be in a relationship with you, and you recognize though that you make them unhappy because of your ways, right? That's like that's terrible. So that's why it's like I say, I can't be in any relationship for for now, right? Because I just feel like I can't give my 100%, and I don't ever want to be in any relationship where it's like I feel that the guy would just look at me and he'd be like, "Wow, she's really kind of like very emotionally fragile right now." But the other thing that I worry about is like again, if people knew how things, how I am, um I worry that it would just be such a turn off, when I go through those hard times. Like I'm not that kind of person where I'm just like always depressed. But it's like I have my moments, and I think it could be very overwhelming to certain people. And I think that some people may take it as, geez, how can I ever have a kid with a woman like that? What if my kid turns as depressed as her? Yeah, what if that happens? Like, geez, I can't have a flawed kid. I need a happy kid. I don't like Erica has great qualities to her, but geez, man, I can't deal with her being depressed. I don't want to deal with that. That's not fun. That's not happy. That's not positive life experience. That's just, me having to take time out of my day to cater to her needs. And yeah, I don't want to deal with that. I want to have a happy life. I don't want to deal with like some chick who would just get too emotional at times. And I know how that comes off because people would say, you should be with a person who is sensitive to your needs and things like that, who will be there for you. But I just feel like, yeah, like at least right now I'm such a, I'm really just kind of like not in a good. I really need to like get more help and stuff like that. I really need to work on myself more, and I can't be any good partner right now, 100%. Like yeah, I like that wouldn't be good. So yeah, it's like that's a mental health journey kind of thing, and that's why I realize like yeah, no matter what, you just gotta have a stronger base and things like that. But maybe in the future things will be different. No, it's like yeah, I feel like like right now, how I am right now, like, yeah, I definitely need help and I definitely need therapy and I definitely need to work on myself. And yeah, I definitely do. But that's just my thing, right? I mean, like, um, I just see it as like you have a choice to make, right? Like, do you think you're even mentally healthy to be in any relationship? And my answer is no. And I say this because I've known people who have been in relationships and the wife starts having mental health issues, right? It doesn't get resolved for whatever reason. You know, she starts getting depressed. And when she doesn't fix it, do you know what it does? It actually encourages like a breakup or something like that. And I think to myself, like, crap, yeah, I need to put more work on myself. I don't want to even think about any relationship because I know if I entered any relationship right now, it would just end up most likely in a breakup because of it, like, oh, she's just too much of a mess. Someone that has similar issues or similar distance would give you plenty of time to work on yourself would be a decent match. Well, first of all, I don't want to think about relationships, like working out relationships at all right now. Like I gotta focus on me. But I think that like I knew, okay, here's the thing. Here's the other thing that makes me think about that, right? I knew like when you're going to talk about two depressed people, right? I've known that there was this guy and there was this girl, right? They were both depressed individuals. They understood each other. They felt like they had a mental connection. But the problem with that is that when they went through problems, things didn't change because they fed off of one another. See? So when they fed off of one another, they would have these explosive fights. And although they felt close to each other, they recognized that it wasn't good because they were both mentally unhealthy. You know, they were both going through things and they just couldn't get the help that they both needed individually. So when you're dealing with a depressed individual, right, in a logical sense, you'll have one person, if they're depressed, they're going to bring down the mood of the other person, which isn't good. Um, and if you have two depressed individuals, it's going to be very hard for the mindset to change because then you got people who are just kind of like, you know, spreading the depression around. And it's hard for people to both get out of that funk and be each other's support system when they're both in the same place mentally. See, that's a dangerous thing. So it's better to work on some oneself, get in a better place, talk about the flaws, keep, you know, and then be, you know, be at a better place. And then that way, hopefully, you won't pull the other person down when you're sad. Or if it is, it's not nearly as bad, you know? But you need to, you know, you need to keep yourself in check. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. So yeah, that's the way I see things. And yeah, I just don't want to be that spreader of negativity. I don't want to be that spreader of depression, and yeah, that's how I view things. And I acknowledge that I am very depressed at times. And that's why I'm trying to finally get the help that I need. And that's why you guys are going to see me. You guys have been seeing me focus more on myself, my happiness, trying to correct negative thinking, negative trains of thoughts. Because I want to be better. I want to be a better person when it comes down to it. I don't want to be one of those people where it's just I hurt the people that I care about. And I just don't want that. You know, it makes me feel very bad about doing that. And I don't want to push people away. And I don't want to, cause all sorts of like terrible things, for people to feel. You guys know, like, a depressed person is like draining and things like that. You can't help a person anyway unless they help themselves. You really can't. So yeah, that's all. No, I think relationships are a beautiful thing. Relationships, romantic friendships, all those stuff. They're all beautiful things. Um, but I think the standard of a romantic relationship is so much higher than of that of a friendship, right? Because when you are in a relationship, let's say you guys enter that relationship, uh, you know, long term or so, right? Let's just say that. You have, the natural things people judge is, all the qualities in a person. You think pros and cons thing, negatives, positive thing. Um, and then you also think to yourself, do you think this person is fit to possibly be a mother one day? And people should be picky. They should have standards and they should, choose wisely. I would not recommend a person, right? And this is just my personal opinion. I would not recommend a person to have a child with someone who is mentally unstable, And I'm not saying I'm mentally unstable, but they're not mentally healthy. They don't have any mechanisms in place or anything to keep them in check. Because what you don't want is you don't want, let's say, a person having a child, the person has a breakdown, the child sees it, and then the child is around an environment where they have one depressed parent and another person who's trying to help that person, but they're unsuccessful. You see? So I'm not saying, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can be depressed and you can be in a relationship, but you need to have a system in place so that way when you are depressed, it's not, it's like you're taking conscious steps to get out of that depression, to not fall back on bad habits and things like that. And all of that takes time. All that takes time. Mental health is a very, very, very important subject and it should be focused on more. But I have the ability to look at myself too, right? And say, yeah, it's just like, I don't think I would, because I don't think I would be, I don't have any systems in place, kind of thing. Like, I don't have any like solid systems in place, right? I'm working on myself. Um, I don't have the mental energy to give it to another person because it's like I need to I need to like make sure that I'm stronger. And that's one of the things. Like, if you guys are depressed, you guys, like, seriously, go get some help. Go get some help. Go talk it out with people. You don't have to have a YouTube channel or anything like that. But I hope that my streams just provide a little bit of, a little bit of reality that maybe some of your thoughts align with my thoughts. maybe it doesn't. Maybe you'll look at this stream and you'll be like, man, Erica sounds like she's a mess. You know, maybe you'll be like, oh, damn, I thought I was depressed. Man, Erica sounds even worse. Jeez. But whatever the case is, right? Or maybe you're worse off than me, whatever, right? But I want all of us to try and be better. I want all of us to move forward, to live, you know, healthier lifestyles. I want all of us to look back at life and just say, hey, we might have messed up a little and things like that, but we're good. We're good. We're gonna try to be better people, and we're gonna not just be lost in our heads and stuck in our ways and intolerant of change. So yeah, there's a lot of change that I'm planning to incorporate in my life. And yeah, I got all these little systems, all these little steps that I gotta follow, and it's just like, oh, for frick's sake. Sometimes I feel kind of I need people to think for me and tell me, like, how do I approach certain situations in a healthier fashion, because if I don't, my mind will just go back to its own habits. And I need to see outside of myself, outside of my own thought process. So yeah, but I have little small victories and I'm happy about it. And I've been exercising every day, so that's a good thing. um so yeah, I'm working on that. And yeah, it's all a process. Life is all a process. But whatever happens, in the future, I want to be a really good person. I want to be a mentally healthy person, a mentally strong person. I want to just be that kind of person where I express my vulnerabilities and I communicate better. So that way, people understand and people pick up, like, hey, what's going on, and it's up to them, if they want to get involved in my depression or my struggles moving forward, or if they just want to say, yeah, Erica, you're just like too much for me to handle. But what I absolutely cannot do in the future is wall up. Like I said, I can't do that. I cannot do that at all. And I don't want to do that. Oh, Milad Ming. Yeah, no, it's not just like keeping, it's just like just thinking, just trying to see things in a different light. Like it's like don't wall up kind of thing, you know. When you wall up, do you recognize what do you see when you wall up? What consequences do you see when you wall up? Like you might not see it at that moment, but do you recognize the long-term consequences? Or do you recognize the consequences of walling up? It's like, yeah, now I do. For sure I do. I see it. Um, you know, I I hurt myself. I hurt other people, and it's not good. It's not good at all. And again, it's not intentional. It's just you get lost in your head kind of thing. So yeah, I'm not gonna wall up anymore. But it's more than just walling up. It's communicating. It's kind of thinking things through actively, focusing on me, focusing on what I want, focusing on, you know, all the stuff that I want in life, kind of thing. You know, What kind of person do I envision myself to be? What steps do I do to get there and things like that. If I have something and I want it, why don't I do it? Why do I stop? Right? That stuff. I want to know, did moving to NYC change you in a bad way? That place looked toxic to me. I'll tell you this, like I think I alluded to this in my Aloha video. When I was in Hawaii, people were nice and friendly to me. I was nice and friendly to people. I think that you are, a byproduct of your environment in a sense, right? If you're around warm, friendly people, like imagine this, right? Let's say you wake up, you go out the door, and your neighbor's like, hey, hey, Erica. And I'm like, hey, how are you? I'm doing good. I hope you have a good morning. I hope you have a good morning too. That kind of stuff, right? Oh, how have you been? Oh, I've been good. Oh, yeah, I was just, did you know it's like, I don't know, did you know like it's mango season right now? We have some really good mangoes here. Like all that stuff, it's like that kind of vibe in people, right? Like that's how people around me in Hawaii are. You sense that. You see that like kindness. You see that warmness. You see that light. You meet people where they did like you don't even know them, and they're like once they like meet you or you have a little brief introduction, they just give you a hug. They give you a kiss on the cheek, and it's like you sit down and you just talk. Like it's that warm. In New York, I it was dramatically different than Hawaii. So Hawaii was like that little, everybody is mostly nice to each other, warm, aloha spirit. You guys can look it up. Aloha, Aloha. Look that up. Aloha, Hawaii. Like Hawaii is known as the aloha state. There's a lot of warmth, there's a lot of kindness, there's a lot of happiness, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of respect for each other, right? But in New York, I felt like there were a lot of people who were just apathetic. You would see people throw stuff on the street. You would see people curse at each other. You would see people like harm each other. I would see people have a distrust towards me. I would see people, point out that I was Asian. And it just made me think like, holy crap, like you got to be guarded in New York. So in Hawaii, right, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about like if I walk around in shorts or dress and things like that. But in New York, it's different. I don't want to call it like predatory or something like that. But there's, it just makes me feel uncomfortable. So you can, it's like the mentality of people in New York, and I'm just generalizing here from what I pick up, it's something along the lines of you have the go-getters, you have the people who are determined to succeed, but you have a lot of people who just watch out for themselves. It's like I will do what I want. I don't give a damn what you think about me. It's that kind of thing because people will screw each other over and just not have that warm friendly vibe. And there are some nice people in New York. Like, don't get me wrong, right? But I'm talking about like the general vibe. So you kind of like you don't feel that sense of community that you feel in, let's say, other states. Like I've mentioned in my previous stream, we went to Maine. I saw people in Maine. They're so warm. Like the people in Maine are absolutely lovely people. Um, Even though it has so much ice, they're just so full of warmth. And I loved it, so respectful. It's a great state. And then you see in New York, it's like people would just like toss crap on the ground. There's so much litter around. People don't care, about each other. because it's like I need to step over you. I don't care about this community. I care about myself. I don't want to throw my trash in the trash can. Screw that. I don't care if it's 3 feet away. I'm gonna throw it on the ground. And it's like it's just like you see this sense of like hopelessness, but also entitlement at the same time, and that's disturbing. That's pretty disturbing because it's like you versus Hawaii, it's like we got a litter problem, but it seems like it's an accidental litter problem mostly. People here, I'm not going to say we're like non litter bugs, but there's not so much litter. There's way less litter in Honolulu than what I see in New York. I see people just like toss stuff on the ground. I don't see people do that in Hawaii because, yeah, people in Hawaii are different. So that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like you have different people, and then I would meet people, and then I would just kind of feel like I couldn't really connect to people. It's like you don't, like in Hawaii, you meet people and they're just like they might not be the coolest person, and they're kind of strange, but you can tell like they got good hearts in them. They have a bright smile. And in New York, it's like people are just more wary of each other. It's like watch your back. And I didn't like that. And you kind of feel that if people don't aren't happy, then it just kind of transfers off to others, right? And what happens? It just that's what I feel to be New York. I don't want to say like all of New York is like, because I'm gonna say there are happy people in New York, but my general vibe is that it's kind of like do your own thing, watch your back, and that's it. Like, yeah, just that. It's not like be lovely to each other. It's more like a very like I don't want to say cold professional, but it's like a polite professional, but also has like a tinge of coldness and just all those other emotions that I was telling you guys about. I don't even think, Times Square, as much as people think Times Square is all cool, it's like I look at it and I just think it's so soulless. You got all these LED lights, you got all this advertisement, but I don't feel like the warmth. I don't feel that people who are walking around are truly happy being around those lights. It's like you kind of just see people walk past and it's like same old crap, same old crap. Versus, in Honolulu, you got people like laughing, going to the beach, just relaxing. You see where I'm getting at? Like one is like a packed sardine can, and then the other one is, and you just got ads all over you, all over around you. And then the other one is more like, oh, what you're gonna do? You're gonna go to the beach, have a great time, swim in the ocean, that sort of stuff. So it says I feel that it's like the same with Denmark or Spain or Portugal. We're literally just a bunch of unwoke compared to their culture. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Um like you need to be aware. You need to be aware about things in New York. You have a lot of people who I think they don't see each other as like fellow human beings. Like I said, that should be treated with kindness and respect. It's more like, what can I get out of you? How can I it's not like you just like, for instance, right? I have friends in Hawaii. I don't hit them up for money or anything like that, right? I just think like, hey, they're really cool people. They're really lovely people. Um, I like I just like being around like loveliness, really. And then in New York, you'll see people and it's like they're trying to scam each other, and it's like, why are you doing that? Like, I understand it. Maybe you want to make some money, but it's like you see these people, like, you will see these people where they would try to scam you. Remember the broken bottle thing? I was in the subway carrying a bunch of stuff, and then this guy bumped. this guy had this a bottle of alcohol, alleged alcohol, inside of a plastic bag. And then he said, I broke it. You know, he dropped it when I walked past him. And he said, I broke it. So he said, oh, you can go to the liquor store over there and buy me $30 worth of alcohol. And I said, well, what was it? And he's like, oh, it was like $30 worth of alcohol. And I wanted to see it. And he started cursing at me, telling me something like, oh, you know, I can't believe I have to show it. Something like that, right? Like, I could see like it was a Sobe bottle, I think, and then there was some other thing. But yeah, he was getting agitated with me. And I said, do you want me to call the cops? Like, I was just kind of curious. Because it's like, you don't have this in Hawaii. You really don't. Um, and, you know, he was like, he just cursed me out. He was like, why, you know, he just like walked away from me and cursed me out. And I found out that's a scam in New York. And when this happened, this was not a tourist area subway at all. It's just, you know, people want to see how they can benefit from other people. And the reason why I was targeted that day is because I was bringing a lot of stuff home. And I think that this person thought, oh, you know, you have a lot of money, because when I told them, and this is back when I was dumpster diving. Okay, I think I did this stream. It was like a candy stream or something. But I told them, I said, you know, sorry, I don't have any like money on me. You know, I told them, I said, like, I lied to them and I said, oh, you know, I don't have any money on my card. And then they told me, they said, you know, I know you just went shopping. I can see all the stuff that you bought. So people will eye you out. They will scope you out. They will notice these things and then try to take advantage of you if possible. You don't have that in Hawaii. You don't have people just looking at a person who looks like they're very gentle, right? I don't think I look aggressive at all. If you see me, you've seen me on camera. Um, and they would just say, like, how can I scam this person? And that's a disturbing thing about New York. You know, you pick that thing up and it's just like, yikes. You know, people are more cultured in other areas versus in New York. Um, and I don't mean that in a disparaging fashion, but I'm just saying, like, I think you have more people who really care about others, you know, others and their well being than in New York. So yeah, do I think New York is toxic? Depends. You know, it depends on your experience. But you definitely have to be on guard in New York. It's You cannot keep your guard down. And yeah. So yeah, urban life is great because you have everything close by to you. Rural life not so great because, you know, everything's freaking far away. Like, yeah, it's peaceful, but I just think to myself, like, what is there? What is there really to do? Ugh. Like, I don't want to sound like ungrateful, but it's like, you know, when you have things, it's like you're so used to city life, everything is so close by you. You see everything, and everything's like, oh yeah, there's this, and there's this, and there's this, all that stuff. Yeah. My wife is in South America, and I'm in New York City still, waiting on the paperwork. I think I'd only stomach so much smart city in the future through fresh mango sounds like the way. Yeah. Yeah. So when I would see people in New York, I just kind of thought to myself, overall, hey, I don't feel a closeness without a lot of these people. I don't really want to go out because I don't like the vibe of a lot of people. And I just rather stay home. You see the toxic cycle over there? You see where I'm getting at? I mean, like, I'm sure you guys understand this, you know? It's like you're thinking, like, the safest place I have is being at home. Yeah, I've been hearing crime is getting worse in New York. I've been hearing that. I don't know, how yeah, I've been hearing that. But I don't know how bad it's getting. But there's always this kind of stuff going on. That's the thing, like I just don't get it. Like why do people become so violent to each other? What's the reason about doing that? Why? Why? Why hurt each other? Why? I sound so idealistic in that way, right? Why do people hurt each other? Why do people wanna why do people wanna be mean to each other? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, in Hawaii, I'm sure there's a few scammers, but it's really not. Like, if someone goes up to you in Hawaii randomly, they could like chances are they could just be a tourist who's a little lost and they're looking for directions. That's it. In New York, if someone goes up to you, I would expect them to try to scam me. you know like, hey, I have a young child at home and I could really use some baby formula. Can you help me out? Can you go to CVS and buy some infant formula for my grandchild? And I'm thinking, like, frick, there's WIC, there's food stamps, but you know why they want that? Because it's easy to flip baby formula. So yeah, I expect people to want to try scam you and stuff. Really expect that. You really should. So yeah. Yeah. And so overall, right? Yeah, like I'm thankful and I'm grateful for those life experiences. I truly am. Um, but yeah, I just like when I think about that stuff, I just think to myself like, damn, it's really people how people view themselves and view their communities. It's been incredibly eye-opening to me. And yeah, I'm not going to say all of New York City sucks, right? But you definitely have to be more guarded around people. But I also think that you shouldn't look at people with distrust, because if you let's put it this way, you should be guarded, but you should not assume everyone is bad, because not everyone is bad, right? In New York, but there's definitely more of a heightened sense of alertness than being in than there's more of a heightened sense of alertness than what's that word? Than being like in a rural city. Yeah, the drug issue. Oh my goodness, my stream. The drug issue is. I don't. I'm straight. I'm clean. So I mean, I don't take any of that stuff. So I don't know what it is. But I think once people get addicted to it, then they get hooked on it, and then maybe their friends get hooked on it too, and it's just a vicious cycle. I'm not and I don't want to offend anybody who is currently taking that stuff, but the reason why I don't take that stuff is because I've always thought to myself, I think it's so dangerous for me to take any substance like that, like, those addictive ones, because my worry is that if I took it, I would get addicted to it and I'd even get more distracted in my life. Like I said, my big habit is getting lost in my head. Can you imagine if I was like addicted to something? Like frick, I'd like look at my life and I'd be like 60 years old by then. See? I don't know about that. That's why I would never ever do that stuff. I'm just like, there's too much negatives and not enough positives. There's just way too many negatives. And I have this thing in my life where I want to conquer my fears head on. You know, I don't want to be that kind of person where I look at things and I just get all negative about things. I want to say, okay, this is what's going on. Let me strategize. Let me try to find a solution and let me figure out where to go from here. And yeah, I kind of feel like, and this is just like hindsight being 2020. I kind of feel like, um, if I had, how would I say this? What was I going to say? Yeah, if you talk openly about your fears, and here's another thing, if you talk openly about your fears, it actually helps a lot with anxiety because then you just let it out there, right? So that's why for me, I just like in the stream, I let so much of my fears out there. And yeah, you guys could probably think like, Erica, this sounds like a freaking chat plus like therapeutic thing for you. And yeah, I mean, there's like some people can consider things embarrassing, but my fears and my insecurities and things like that. But I think to myself, geez, I'm not that special. I'm not the only one in the world with these insecurities. So it's not a big deal. Like, yeah, I cry. Yeah, I get way too sensitive. But everybody has insecurities in their life. So what? I could have an insecurity about this or insecurity about that. So what? It's not a big deal. But yeah, some people will definitely criticize me and say I'm just like way too open about my insecurities and it's such a turn off. But everybody has insecurities. They do. It's just in varying degrees. And a lot of people, they just keep quiet about it. But just because you keep quiet about it does not mean you don't have it. Kind of like everybody, you know, this is going to sound so crude, but it's like everybody has to go to the restroom. Just because you don't announce that you're going to go to the restroom doesn't mean that you don't go to the restroom. See? It's like, yeah, we all have our own issues. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. No, it's not sighing because I'm agitated. It's just sighing because I'm just like I'm getting rid of like some stress. Yeah. Yeah. So I think we gotta embrace our insecurities, accept our insecurities in the sense that we all have our own things that we all need to work on. Like nobody is perfect in this world, right? But it's very important for us to be kind and to each other and like the little aloha thing, right? Like some of us are, skinny, some of us are big, some of us are athletic, some of us are tall, some of us are short, some of us are, we all have our own things. Some people have mental health issues, other people have physical issues, other people have both. Some people they have a stutter, other people don't. We all are just different. We're like different little creations. But I think as long as we're very empathetic to each other and we're very kind and understanding and saying, hey, you know what? We all got flaws. It would make the world a much more beautiful place. So that's the kind of thing that I'm moving forward with my life. And yeah, I'll talk about these kind of things. I'll talk about my insecurities, and I'll talk about my little successes and my little failures and my little shames and my my shortcomings, because like although people may think poorly of me, and at the end of it, at least I want to be better, like I'm not the only person struggling with depression in the world. I'm not the only person dealing with like 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 that kind of bad cycles sort of thing, those um in my mind where I just kind of think wall up, wall up, wall up. But yeah. Yeah, I know a couple where they're like their gross is about $250,000 a year, and 250,000 a year, and they don't want to, they don't have a kid. They're focused on their careers, and understandably so, but they just see this, and they just like they're just so focused on their future that they're not thinking about having children. And that's fine. That's fine, to each really their own. Kids are really expensive. Kids are really expensive. They're so pricey. Yeah, I totally think that birth rates are going to be declining in the future. And the downside is that you'll have some really wonderful people, wonderful guys, wonderful women who never have children because they simply can't afford it. And then like it's an idiocracy kind of thing. But then you'll have other people who will just have like kids without regard, and then maybe they'll be piss poor parents. This is one of the reasons why I think it's very important for people who are good people, truly, like good, upstanding people, to have children, because I don't want to imagine a future where there are just like low quality, future humans, because like all the people who were of higher intelligence, I hate to say it that way, but I'm going to say it that way, like the educated people, the people who say, oh, I got to put my career first, oh, I got to focus on this and this, like they focused on that, and they just missed the boat. Or they just, at some point, they're like, oh, they think too, they my bad, they think to themselves like, oh yeah, I was so focused on my career. Oh, now I'm 37 years old. I can't have a kid. So I'm too old. So I'm not going to have any child at all. And all the beautiful qualities in that 37-year-old will not be passed on to a future child genetically. And I know people would say, well, you can adopt, right? But sometimes like people just prefer having their own bloodline. They want to like nurture a kid or bring a child into the world. So there are some people where they just decidingly choose not to have any children, not to adopt at all, because they figure that they want to have their own blood related child. So that's the other thing too, right? Children are a huge investment, you guys. Like I think to myself, like you guys know, right? I've said this many times. Like I'm turning 34 in June, and I think to myself, like, man, if I was to have a child in a year, that means I got 1 year to myself before I have to before I have to basically stop my life and then focus on this child, nurture this child. And having a child is a huge responsibility, a huge blessing, a huge responsibility. And I really think people who have children should really be very proactive about childcare, like making sure their kid grows up right, making sure their kid is around good, parents. And yeah, um, like for instance, right? Like if someone said, "Do you want to have a child now?" I'd be like, "Hell no! I can't even think about I can't even think about having a child at this point." Like some people will be like, "I'll have a child whenever I feel like it." I'm like, "No, I want to have a child who has a very mentally healthy parent, and then that parent can devote their brain to help that child grow, to nurture them, to help that child through their issues." Because I think as a child grows up, maybe there is going to be things that they're feeling insecure about. They're going to need some parently advice. And I want to be like, if I ever become a mom one day, I want to be that kind of mom who's like, "Hey, you know what? I'm here for you. If you have any troubles, come to me, talk to me. And if we still can't figure it out, you know what? We'll go ask a professional." And I want my child, and because I have a feeling, this is just me, right? I would not be surprised if my child has depression issues. I want my child to see mental health as like no different than going to a nurse station when you scrape your knee in school. I want my child to understand that it's like you gotta, an Olympic athlete would go to a coach for training. So if you are a person, it's no different, and you have a brain, it's not unusual for you to want to seek a professional if you want to live your best life. You want to have a better chance of it. No, I fully admit, like, I really do think I really would not be surprised if I have a child and my child end up with like depression issues. I would not be surprised. My one of like, yeah, there are people in my family where the, there are depression issues, and it's okay. Some people have heart disease, some people have other stuff. um and yeah, I fully accept that. It doesn't make me a bad person. It's just something to be cognizant about. And that's why I'm thinking like I gotta get my mental health in check for the future. No, I mean, like, it would be a lot of like counseling and things like that. How are you feeling today? How are all that stuff. Letting a kid experience pain should be a crime. Everybody feels pain in their life. What if I got the child a pet, and what if the pet passed away? Then what? The child would feel pain. That's not a crime. I know. Everybody feels pain at some point in their life. It's normal. It's absolutely normal. Oh, well, you'll feel, well, the kid falls down, scrapes his knee. That's pain. The kid the kid's pet mouse passes away. That's pain. Or the kid's pet goldfish passes away. That's pain. Um, the kid has a fight with their best friend. That's pain. All that stuff. There's a lot out there. Like life has pain. It has sweetness, but it also has pain. No, I'm not gonna assume that. I don't want to get to a point where I'm assuming like, oh, if I had a kid, my kid will wish that they were never born. Like, no, no. I refuse to believe that. Like, that's the kind of talk Third Winchester like tells people like they shouldn't have kids because they'll say they're just projecting their insecurities on kids. That's what I truly believe. Like if you are saying like, "Oh, I can't have a kid because I think my kid's going to have a lifelong reality of pain and I think my kid's going to wish that they were never born." That's really projection. That's truly projection because kids every human has the choice of free will and they don't have to be a certain way that you perceive them. Like there's parents who think that their kid's going to be a genius, so talented, so smart, and the kid comes out and the kid is not so smart, right? No, you're refusing to believe that. No, you're just being pessimistic. You really are just being pessimistic. You're assuming that people out there in the world like don't want to be born. It's like, do you think everybody in the world feels like that way? Like, I would never ever feel that way about myself. I love my life. I love the people in my life. Um, Although I wish my life was, you know, only full of happy things and no pain, I can't deny that those pain points have made me a stronger person, more aware person. I'm like not the strongest person. I think I've cried like 2 or 3 times in this stream, but I'm strong in the sense that I try to be resilient. So, yeah, and I'm not the only person. I'm sure there's a bunch of people out there in the world who's like, yeah, my life sucks, but I'm still happy I was born. You know, I can't imagine living a life where I didn't have the experience of eating a cookie. I didn't have the experience of meeting the people that I love and care about. Um, I, I can't imagine that. You know, life has little pleasures in it, little bursts of happiness. So I look at life that way. I look at life as that kind of happy point to it. And truly, even though it may not seem like it at times, at the end of it, I do cherish my life. I do want to have a better life. I do want to be a better person. I do want to move forward in my life, and I want to be that person that is very loving and kind and, strong. And I want to look back on my life and say, hey, yeah, I went through a lot of crap in life. I failed a bunch of times. I felt vulnerable and embarrassed, but I've led a good life. I lived a good life. So third Winchester says then you're not depressed. Now you see what I'm saying? So third Winchester, you're making a lot of like judgments here. You're like, okay, well you can't be depressed if you don't feel that way. You can be depressed and still feel optimistic about life. You just feel low. It's not like you're depressed and you instantly go off to the one side. Oh, goodness. No, I don't want to live my life like what if, what if, what if, what if, what if, because I've tried that, I've done that, and it's not a good place. Like, right? What if I go outside my house? What if I got struck by lightning? What if I cross the street and a coconut tree falls on me? Right? What if I get on a plane and then the plane crashes? What if what if I go to the supermarket and an aisle falls on me, like a shelf falls on me? Then what? Right? What if I cross the street, I slip, and I accidentally get hit by a car? Right? It's like all that stuff. Like I would just like worry myself out. I would be in such a negative mindset. I'd be like, what if, what if, what if, what if, what if, what if I'm eating something and some food spills on my shirt, and then the person says, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you're so sloppy. You got that little stain on your shirt from eating spaghetti." Like what if? Like what if all my friends leave me because they think to themselves, "Oh, Erica, she's, her favorite color is this, and we hate that color or something. Like, it just gets way too paranoid. It gets way too crazy. And I don't want to live that kind of life, you know? It's not good. It's not good. This whole what if, what if, what if, what if. Yeah, what if the sky falls on your head? Then what? You know? What if, right? What if I do this stream and then there's like a level, I don't know, level 10 earthquake that hits this little tropical island? What if, right? What am I supposed to do? What if there's some sort of nuclear thing that happens and my little island is targeted? Then what? What am I supposed to do? Just wait in anxiety and be like, you guys, I think that there's some nuclear thing that's gonna hit Hawaii, and I don't want to go out. You guys shouldn't go out. You guys should just stay indoors all day. You guys shouldn't live your life. Yeah, you shouldn't go out at all. Like, just stay in. Just stay in. Like, don't go out. Don't go out. What if? What if? What if? But I'll ask you this, right? What if that doesn't happen? What if all the problems that you think is gonna happen just doesn't manifest itself? Then you have just lost out on a good life. You have lost out on days that you can't get back in your life because you were just like, what if, what if, what if, what if? And I know that because I did that for the longest time. I got stuck in these bad habits. I got stuck in my brain. It's not good. I have no idea. I don't follow volcano news in Hawaii. And we have like one volcano, but it's on another island, so rip that island. Oh, I know I sound so cruel. I'm like, rip Big Island. Sorry, Big Island. If you have a volcano there, I think I got some volcanoes that like Kilauea. I'm like, yeah, you guys, yeah, we got like a bunch of oceans between us, a bunch of ocean and other islands between us here in Honolulu. So live your life that way. That's how I'm choosing to live my life, and I hope that you guys, I hope that this stream encourages you to be a bit more brave, be a bit more aware of things, and be more mindful. Be more mindful about stuff, and yeah, just go after your life, kind of thing, right? Don't let fear and insecurity hold you back. Seriously, don't get lost in your head. And it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to have depression. It's okay, having insecurities about mental health is totally normal. I have it. I'm very transparent about it. But yeah, my life is fine. My life is fine. Yeah, of course we do. I can swim. Like, I don't know much. Oh, actually, I take that back. I know a few people who can't swim. They weren't born. They weren't born here. I'm just kidding. They were born here. I'm just playing around. I'm just playing. So, yeah. I was gonna say something like, yeah, they didn't swim in the island. They didn't swim over here. They didn't swim around the oceans. They just came on a boat or something. But yeah, I know it's a really stupid joke. It is a very stupid joke. So yeah, I'm gonna get going in like 5 minutes or so. I've done the stream way too long. This is almost like a 3-hour stream. I didn't want to stream, but I told myself, I said, Erica, you're feeling better. You can start streaming now. Force yourself to stream. And it seems like, I can stream. So that was one of those little insecurities about mine. For the longest time, I was thinking to myself, like, I just don't have the energy to stream. But then I've gotten better and better and better. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why I decided to start streaming. I was like, I think I can do it. I think I can finally do it. So yeah, it's better to just go for it and fail rather than not go for it and fail. Yeah, I mean, like, you fail 100% if you don't go for things. So I think in life I'm becoming a lot more I think in life I'm becoming a lot more aware. A lot more aware, a lot more logical, a lot more people focused. Um more cognizant, more loving, more I'm just becoming a higher person, a higher quality person. It's not an easy journey. It's not, a smooth journey, but I do want to be better. I truly do. And just just working with people um, helps me a lot. It helps me a lot, and it just kind of it just encourages me to be good. And I don't mean just good like a moral sense, but good as in I'm supportive and kind and nice and things like that. And I fulfill my destiny, my dream for myself, which is to make the world or leave the world better than I found it. Yeah. So, yeah, that, like I said, I got to move my stuff out from New York, and I'm really dedicated on leaving it better than I found it, because I know I had a whole bunch of crap lying around. I feel bad about it. 100%. Um, I really feel bad about it. But I think to myself, like, yeah, I just want to make sure that everything is all nice and pretty. Um, by the time I go and I leave, and I can just say, yeah, I had a great time, great learning experience in New York. And yeah, I messed up the apartment, but I want to make it all nice again. And just one of those things where it's like, it just, I think that would be a very good gesture to do. I feel bad about that, I really do. I was getting rid of things, but it wasn't moving fast enough. It wasn't, and I know that. I know that. I 100% knew that. I was working on it though, but it wasn't fast enough. That's why I say, like, people have standards. People have uh, standards that they want in people, and it's completely understandable. Yeah, yeah, we broke up. You know, we broke up. I have to focus on my mental health. I have to focus on um, just just being mentally more. I don't want to say stable, but mentally more healthy. I need to focus on myself before I even think about any relationship. And it was it was I think it was really necessary for me to just kind of look within and just see things on another level, like, whoa. So, but yeah, not like I said, I'm not dead, he's not dead. It's not like it's like, just because things didn't work out romantically doesn't mean I wish the guy ill or anything like that. No, I still wish him very well. And I'm not that kind of person where I'm like death, despair, destruction. Like, no. Oh, crap. I was wondering where my charger was. But yeah, I just like being open about certain things now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, we're not that kind of person where we're just gonna be throwing crap at each other. No, it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. That's what it came down to, and I fully I fully acknowledge it. I understand that. I gotta focus on myself, and I gotta work on myself, and yeah, like if you're unable to balance two things, right? Like here's the thing too, right? In relationships, you don't have to you have to think what's best for yourself, but you also have to think about what's best for both of you, right? Not just you, but also the other person. And if you sense that, hey, this person probably should, take some time off and focus on themselves, or maybe you just kind of feel that, hey, they're not in a good headspace, or that kind of stuff, like I completely understand it. If you especially if you feel like, hey, maybe maybe you just kind of thought to yourself, like, like it is what it is, like it's not like a bad thing. People fall in love, people fall out of love. It's totally fine. It's totally normal. People hate it. People hate the idea of like them being, let's say, married, and then one day their spouse tells them, like, you know what, I realize I don't love you anymore, kind of thing. Um, like that sucks, right? Like nobody wants that for themselves, but the freaking thing happens. For whatever reason, it happens. You know, some people, they live long lives together, other times they don't. Sometimes a person will, let's say, go into a coffee shop, see a cute barista, and say, yeah, whatever, I don't care about my wife, let me hit on the barista, right? Maybe they end up with the barista, and then they're so much happier with the barista than their ex-wife, right? Maybe the ex-wife will find someone new who will make them happy too. So it's not like just because a relationship ends or a marriage ends or whatever, right? It's not like both people are going to be miserable forever. Like, no, no, definitely not. It allows people to just, to just like explore something different. That's all. That's the thing about like marriage. I think marriage is like such a big thing. Of course, you guys know, right? I've never been married before. To people who I know who have been married, like they take that stuff. At least the people I know in Hawaii, they take that stuff like really seriously, like ride or die kind of thing. Like I will be there for that person in their darkest time. I will be there for that person when they need me. But I see this mostly in like I shouldn't generalize, but I see it mostly this kind of thing where it's like this, like you don't see their outside, you see their soul. You see how they are. I see it mostly in like guys who are about, let's say, 50, 60 years old, like different generation. I think now 30-year-olds, for 30-year-olds, it's, you hear about, I think we hear more about relationship problems now for people in their 30s, especially marriage stuff, because people are just like, oh, I have a problem. I'm just going to throw in the towel. Oh, yeah. Uh, I'm married to a guy, but I don't like him anymore because he's not as hot as this other guy that I saw. Right? Sucks, but it happens. Yeah, yeah, it is really what it is. But like I said, it leads to new growth, new transformations and things like that. And I'm excited to see, in a sense. I'm excited, but also, as you guys can tell, I'm just like a little. Um, I'm excited to see, what how my mental state will change, because now I'm getting the help that I needed. I have the support that I needed, and I really realized, like, I have to be more communicative with people. And it's just been a very, a very beautiful thing to recognize. It's not easy, it's not easy, but just knowing that I'm going outside of my comfort zone and celebrating little insecurities and recognizing them and trying to defeat them one by one by one, it actually makes me happy. It does. Like even though I might be like very insecure about it, the thought of me just facing my insecurities head on and just saying like, yeah, Erica, you can do it. You can do it. But if you don't think you can do it, you can do that too. So you can and you cannot do that at the same time. Yeah, but it all just depends on the mindset. I think our minds are really like what's that word? Our minds are really like control systems, right? Our minds determine the direction that we go in life. Do you want to be happier? Let your mind guide you. Do you want to do you want to achieve something? Let your mind help you achieve it. Through discipline, fortitude, hard work. I think that's all the same thing, but you guys get what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, our minds are really our own worst prison. It can be, but it can also be our minds can be our own worst prisons, but it can also be the most beautiful thing. It can also be the our filing system for beautiful memories. I told you guys, like when I think about my life, I've had some not so great things happen in my life. But overall, I try to focus on the beautiful things. I try to remember all the good times. I try to think about the people in my life. I try to think about all the all the value, you know, all the value in people, like in terms of their mind, their love, their qualities, how they rub off on one another. A loving person rubbing off to another person might make them more loving, right? And it's important to kind of keep that stuff in mind because if you don't, then you'll never realize how your actions come off as. And yeah, I I can tell you straight up, like I realized that I definitely needed help. And I think with help, it's put me on the right path to be a better person. And yeah, not gonna lie, I feel like I feel optimistic, but I also feel vulnerable. Um, I feel very vulnerable at times because I just think to myself like, oh, so much, so much falling short. Oh, you just feel so bad. But I gotta just like block it out, kind of thing, and just say, oh well, oh well. Yeah, no, that was just my water. I have a water carafe, so that way I don't what's that word? I don't run out of water. I mean, like that way I don't have to keep going to the sink over and over and over and over. Yeah. Yeah. I have anxiety, I'm not gonna lie. A little anxiety, sadness, guilt, but also strength. Also strength. Yeah, that's what's going on in my mind right now. I just feel that, yeah, I just feel like it'll just lead to me just, yeah, feeling like, oh, like such an idiot. Like such a, yeah, but better to face those insecurities and keep them in, right? So that's what I want to do. I just want to do that. And then that way I can just basically get rid of all my shortcomings, or try to get rid of all my shortcomings, and just be back on the path to being a better person or healthier person. Yeah. I guess you guys can tell, like, I just have a lot of, like, thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts in my head, and I'm scared. And I, it's just kind of like overwhelming at times. But yeah, it's just talking about it, you know. Just talking about it. It's gonna be really. So yeah. Anyway, I think this stream has been way too long. I'm just going off in circles. And yeah, I think if I listened to this, I'd be like, oh my God, Erica, you're just going off in circles. Just thinking, just thinking. But that's the way my mind is. My mind kind of stops, rewinds, reanalyzes. Stop, rewind, reanalyzes. Stop, rewind, reanalyzes. But the weird thing is like when I go through life, my life, I don't, I don't really think consciously about my life too much, in the sense of all the little actions that I do. And that's been a very big shortcoming for me. Because it's just like, I just thought, well, whatever, like, this is my routine. And I have to look closely at my own life and just rebuild my own life. And it scares me. It really scares me. But it's necessary, you know, to just take things in and then just say, like, oh, gosh. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing that wakes me up at 3 a.m. It's just my mind thinks, and my mind races, and my mind just kind of has this sense of anxiety, and it's not gonna go away until I let it out, kind of thing. And it's like that. And I need to be very, I need to be very mindful about things. So yeah, mindful about my mental health. You know, be more aware about that kind of stuff. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if I went and I just documented my thoughts. You know, one of the reasons why I don't write, I never told, I think I might have told you guys this in a stream, but one of the reasons why I don't journal or I don't write down any like documentation stuff about my day is because I have a good feeling that if I reread it, I would focus only on the negative because that's what I used to do. I used to write about my day, and if I had a bad day, I would write about that, and I could see all the problems my mind just fixated on over and 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 over. And then when I read it, my mind got overwhelmed because all I saw in front of me was the negativity. I didn't hold on to the positivity. You know, because I would look at the previous entry and then I would, like, for instance, right, let's say I had a bad day. Let's say I was, I don't know, let's give an example. Not what's considered a bad day. Well, not really a bad day. I'll just give an example because it's like I've been doing the stream for 3 hours. But like, let's say your car breaks down, right? You wake up, you go out, your car breaks down. You you write in your journal like, man, I can't believe my car broke down. What a piece of crap. Geez, all I wanted to do was one thing and it broke down. I can't believe I have such a piece of crap car. How can I be, this kind of person if I have such a piece of crap car? Blah, blah, blah. And then you look at that, and then the next day you say, man, my piece of crap car needs to get fixed. Geez, I would get it fixed, but I need to find a good store for it. I'm getting so stressed out because I need to find a way to get to places, and now I don't have a car. I don't know what to do. Third day, okay, I try to find a place, but the place is kind of out of the way, and the towing is expensive or something like that, right? And then it's just like you look back at it, and then you'll see your train of thought, and then you'll just think like to yourself, oh my goodness, I'm so negative. I can't believe how negative I am. And yeah, it's just kind of horrifying because if you compare your thought process like from now to 3 months ago or 5 months ago, maybe you would pick up you have the same pattern. And if it's a destructive pattern, it could be very bad. But yeah, anyway, I've said this like 3 million times. But I will talk to you guys later. Thanks to you guys for listening to me, listening to the stuff in my mind, listening to my thoughts, my criticisms of myself, my wishes for myself. And yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough seeing things and just thinking to myself like, man, I frickin' failed spectacularly. But I gotta, I gotta work through it. And I'm just I'm just gonna keep keep swimming forward, keep moving forward and things like that. But I really do believe that life is good, contrary to whatever Third Winchester says about life. I you know, I feel vulnerable, but eventually that vulnerableness will pass. And thanks to mental health support, I will be better and better and better. And maybe I'll falter, but at least I have, you know, at least I feel better about this stuff. Okay, you guys, see ya and take care.